In 2024, we see a lot of people doing very stupid things for internet fame. Can't relate, but doing obviously fake pranks, backstabbing long-time friends for a few clicks, and doing atrocious acts for the slight chance of being famous is an everyday occurrence these days. But this story didn't happen this year, or even this decade for that matter. No, this story happened a long time ago in a decade far away. Long before internet clout or even memes were even really a thing. A story about high school, lightsabers, and the patient zero of viral internet videos. Ghyslain Raza, better known as the Star Wars Kid. Please leave a like and a comment on this video because it really helps me in the algorithm. Our tale begins on January the 2nd, 1988, where a star was born in the quaint little town of Trois-Rivières in Quebec. What a shame. Ghyslain was born into a typical family, raised with the values of hard work and education. And from a young age, he had a vivid imagination and a deep love for all things a typical 15-year-old nerd would enjoy. Especially Star Wars. Just your average nerdy kid, he spent his days dreaming of galaxies far away. Ghyslain was attending École Secondaire St. Joseph's School. There's going to be a lot of French words in this video that I'm not going to pronounce correctly because I don't care enough. But anyway, he was a bright student, though he wasn't exactly the most popular kid in school. He spent his free time reading, watching sci-fi movies, and practicing his Jedi moves in the mirror. His friends were few but loyal, and he was generally well liked by those who took the time to get to know him. And they all supported and helped each other get over the fact that they were all French-Canadian.
I fucking hate Quebec.
Cut this guy a fucking puppers.
Fast forward to November the 4th, 2002, and our boy Ghyslain is feeling the force especially strong within him today. He finds himself alone in the school audio-video room, armed with nothing but a golf ball retriever and his boundless imagination. He decides to record himself in a mock lightsaber duel. The scene is set, a dimly lit storage room filled with AV equipment, and in the middle, our young hero, ready to unleash his inner Jedi. Ghyslain goes absolutely ham swinging that golf ball retriever around, mimicking the epic duels that he fell in love with as a child. His moves, clumsy. His stance, awkward. His technique, amateur. But his enthusiasm, impeccable. He spins, thrusts, and parries like he's battling Darth Maul himself, thinking nothing of this masterpiece that he had just created that was actually taped over a portion of a basketball game. He left the tape in the basement in the AV room, never imagining that this private moment of joy would ever be discovered, let alone become one of the biggest memes of all time. In April of 2003, just 5 months after the video's creation, a few of Ghyslain's classmates were messing around in the AV room and they stumbled across the tape. They see their quiet, nerdy classmate flailing around with a golf ball retriever, and of course they think it's comedy gold. So naturally, they shared it around the school, and as it passes around, it ends up in the hands of a student named Corey, who converted the VHS into a video file, naming it jackass_Star Wars_funny.wmv. And then it got uploaded to Kazaa, the peer-to-peer file sharing network that was the file transfer Wild West of the early 2000s. The video would get thousands of downloads, until a blogger by the name of Andy Bio, who you may have heard of because he eventually became the CTO of Kickstarter, stumbled upon the video and uploaded it to his website. And he was credited with naming the video Star Wars Kid. The video then spread like wildfire and the internet collectively lost its mind. The video is viewed millions of times, and within only 2 weeks, Ghyslain was on the cover of the New York Times, making Ghyslain one of the first ever true viral sensations. Creative internet users then added lightsaber effects, Star Wars music, and even sound effects, transforming the video into a full-blown parody that people just found even funnier. Ghyslain, now the Star Wars Kid, becomes a household name. And this is all years before YouTube even existed. I think the first time that I saw the Star Wars Kid video was on Kill Sometime. Jesus Christ, remember Kill Sometime. But while the internet was having a good laugh, Ghyslain's life was turning into a nightmare. His classmates, not content with just sharing the video online, started actually bullying him relentlessly at school. They taunt him, they call him names, and they mimic his lightsaber moves and make lightsaber noises at him as they walk past him in the hall, just to humiliate him. The video that brought so much joy to strangers all around the world had become a source of immense pain for Ghyslain. As he himself stated, "What I saw was mean. It was violent. People were telling me to commit suicide." The bullying gets so bad that Ghyslain has to leave school. He started homeschooling to escape the relentless harassment. The stress and anxiety start taking a toll on his mental health, leaving him isolated and depressed. Even Bio, who was the one that really made the video spread around and garnered him 2.3 terabytes of traffic, started defending Ghyslain by turning new comments off and deleting some of the really bad ones. On top of going out of his way to actually track down Ghyslain to hear his side of the story. And he had his French-speaking friend interview Ghyslain. In the interview, Ghyslain mentioned that he was thinking of getting an iPod soon. And Bio, feeling responsible for all of the online hate and actually taking quite a liking to Ghyslain, opened up donations to buy him the iPod that he mentioned. And after 421 donations that totaled over $4,000, Ghyslain got his 30GB iPod. He also got 18 $200 gift cards and a note thanking him for the countless hours of entertainment that you've given us and the hardships you've had to face. Bio left himself a little over $7 to treat himself to a couple of pints of cold beer for a job well done, even though Ghyslain never responded or took a photo with the iPod as was requested of him. Ghyslain said years later in a 2013 interview, "I know that the people who sent me the gifts had good intentions, but they were only drops in the ocean of the contempt that I faced." Now, I hear all of you Zoomers all screeching about how you would ride that video fame train straight to internet stardom. And you would make an idiot out of yourself for the world to see for free. But keep in mind that the year was 2002. Smartphones weren't even a thing, and the third Lord of the Rings movie only just came out that year. E-celebdom also wasn't a thing. Basically, when it comes to the internet back then, things were culturally very, very different. Society had a very different approach and view to internet popularity. Also, Ghyslain never even wanted this video to be public in the first place. Soon after Bio's interview, the New York Times ran a piece on the video, featuring a brief email from Ghyslain describing how it was just not a fun experience for him. Unfortunately, being featured in the New York Times only escalated his ordeal by triggering the Streisand effect, attracting even more attention and exacerbating the challenges for him and his family, as they withdrew from public life and sought legal counsel. Due to the daily bullying, Ghyslain stopped attending class and the lawyers arranged for him to go to another school. But to his dismay, the new school was associated with a hospital's psychiatric unit. So rumours quickly spread that Ghyslain was being sent to a mental ward, providing even more fodder for even more online ridicule and mockery. Ghyslain's family sued the families of 4 of his schoolmates who had all uploaded the video, seeking $250,000 in damages, stating that, and I quote, "He had to endure and still endures today harassment and derision from his high school mates and the public at large, and will be under psychiatric care for an indefinite amount of time." Eventually, years later, an out-of-court settlement was reached. Though a lot of people related to him, seeing his awkward and enthusiastic dream of becoming a Jedi in themselves, the bad outweighed the good. And at one point, a local TV network from his own city had that video playing on loop, at the same time giving away his name and hometown and basically doxing him. But if he was committing a crime instead of doing a silly little video, the law would have actually protected him from being doxed. Not limited to just his local TV stations, every news and entertainment related entity wanted a piece of the mockery pie. From Jay Leno's Tonight Show to even a Japanese TV show that offered Ghyslain a lot of money. But he refused all of them because, in his own words, they wanted to turn me into a circus act. Having your 15 minutes of fame when you've done something truly worthwhile is one thing. When you earn it for something humiliating, that's entirely different. While most were just trying to use his sudden fame for their own gains, there were a few cases of genuine enthusiasts. The best example being that in that very same year, Star Wars Episode 3 Revenge of the Sith was being filmed, and fans started a petition with more than 140,000 signatures to include Ghyslain in the movie. But unfortunately, this didn't go anywhere and he was never offered that cameo appearance. In 2005, CNET listed Ghyslain in 8th place in its top 10 web fads list. G4, remember that shit show and how that got killed about a year ago by a fucking woman moment, but anyway, they gave him the #1 spot for most viral video of all time. And most notably, VH1 gave him the #2 spot for top 40 internet celebrities. Right behind Gary Brolsma, better known as the Numa Numa guy. Throughout the years, the sheer amount of exposure that this young man had to endure raised a lot of concerns over privacy issues on the internet. Not only for the fact that, again, he was only 15 at the time, but he never wanted any of the infamy in the first place, if you could even call it that. The video's popularity had numerous spoofs and parodies in popular media, from cartoons like American Dad, The Venture Bros, South Park, shows like The Office and Arrested Development, the music video from Weird Al Yankovic's White and Nerdy, and an Easter egg in the video game Tony Hawk's Underground 2. Even Stephen Colbert in 2006 made a contest out of it by showing a video of himself standing in front of a green screen and mimicking Ghyslain's moves with a toy lightsaber. And viewers were then to edit the video however they wanted and send it back in to be featured on the show as part of a contest. Concluding with an appearance by George Lucas himself presenting his own version of the video, amplified by his own visual effects company, Industrial Light and Magic. Which, in my opinion, was a little bit of a dick move since Ghyslain was never offered that cameo in the movies. But making fun of him on Stephen Colbert was fair game. With the help of family and lawyers, Ghyslain left for private tutoring. He returned to high school for his senior year and enrolled into law school in Montreal, where he became president of the Patrimoine Trois-Rivières Heritage Society, formerly called the Society for Conservation and Promotion of Cultural Heritage, which aimed to develop the area while considering heritage concerns. Though he had grown up and changed a lot and people wouldn't recognise him anymore and he could have continued on with his life with all of this unfortunate stuff behind him, he decided to come forward with his identity to highlight the kinds of bullying and negative attention children may face in similar situations, especially with the rise of social media at that time, which in turn he got even more shit for. One blogger even said that he tricked the world because he was doing fine in life now. And I get people doing that to me all the time. Well, even though you were arrested for a joke, you're actually doing amazing on YouTube and in your career, so you're actually doing fine now, so I guess it wasn't that bad. Bruh. Just because someone managed to survive awful shit that people did to them doesn't suddenly make that awful shit okay to do. Years later, in an interview that was supposed to be his final words on the matter, having experienced firsthand the damage that exposure and bullying can inflict upon a child, he supported the new Canadian cyberbullying legislation, which is cringe and gay and against free speech. However, can we all love shit roasting and memeing on each other and posting horrible shit all the time, on the internet, but can we all at least sort of make an agreement? No underagers. Right, let's not do that to kids, right? We bully each other online all the time. All of you bully me online all the time, and that's completely fine. But let's not do it to literal children, right? Not as a law, but as a social code, because social codes are actually the best way to go about things. But anyway, Ghyslain suggested that people should ask themselves if they would say the same things they write on the internet to someone's face. Many people find it very easy to tell someone to unalive themselves online, but would absolutely shit and piss themselves if that same person was standing right in front of them. Not me though, I'm so much worse IRL. I say heinous shit IRL. Like, I've had people come up to me and confront me in the street, and then I say something that makes like the whole group of them go, "What did you just say? I'm phoning the police." It's hilarious. It's so funny and it brings me so much joy. And by the way, the stuff that I say is absolutely worth a smack in the mouth. Yet, they never do. Funny that. So, where is our boy now, and how is he doing? Well, in 2022, the National Film Board of Canada released Star Wars Kid: The Rise of the Digital Shadows, a documentary about Ghyslain's life and how digital footprints can follow a person for years and, in his case, decades. In the film, Bio meets with Ghyslain and apologises for uploading the video, unaware of the repercussions it would bring to Ghyslain's life. Bio deeply regrets posting the video, but Ghyslain accepted his apology, recognising Bio's genuine kindness despite his misjudgment in the past. One thing I do think is definitely important to point out, though, is despite the pain it brought to Ghyslain and all that type of stuff, we do all have to agree that Star Wars Kid is probably one of the most iconic videos in the history of the internet. Right, so even though Ghyslain doesn't like it and he didn't like all the pain and suffering that it brought to him, it's an important video, right? I've been watching it a lot while we've been researching this video, and it takes me back to days when the internet was a lot more fun. Right, it's just, I feel this, I don't know what it is. I feel kind of melancholy watching the video, because I remember using old Steam and playing Half-Life and OG Counter-Strike and all this stuff back then, and I don't know why, right? I feel that the video is iconic in the history of the internet, and it just makes me remember better times. As for the content and juicy behind-the-scenes stuff in the documentary, I have no idea what any of it is because it is region-locked and paywalled for me, so we weren't able to watch it. I could go a little bit further and dig up a lot more about what he's up to these days, but I think the man's earned a little privacy, don't you? Seeing as how he never even wanted to be known in the first place. But wherever he may be and whatever he may be doing, may he navigate the stars with all of the finesse like he did in that 2002 video.
It's Count Dankula on YouTube! Everybody just subscribe!